Okay, let's move on and move to the more tricky parts. Let's start off with the smokestack. Remember, if they give you a section view, that's how you want to build the part first. So I see this section view over here. It looks pretty nice. So let's just go and draw out the section view first. And for this part, I'm not going to do the whole part for you, but I'm going to start you off on it. So whoops, apparently can't draw that line. So I'm just taking a look back and forth, and I'm just roughly sketching what that part looks like. Okay, so if you can kind of see it, that section kind of looks like this section. A few things to be aware of. They're giving you diameter numbers, but this is clearly a part that we're going to revolve. So if we're revolving it, we need to revolve it around a center line. That line that we created down here, that could be our center line. And that probably will be our center line. So this number is going to be half of that from like this point to that point. So that would be like 0.25. So like we could dimension from here to here, and that would be 0.25. And your sketch will kind of adapt, although you might have to delete and put back on some parts. So that's one of the dimensions. Get the other dimensions on, make sure they're hitting their points. Be aware that this point over here is roughly half of 1.25 from the center, because this point is the outermost circle or diameter, if you can kind of see it. Also, how to get a degree of 15 degrees on this smokestack. What you want to do is just make a line for reference at like this point, and we're just going to make it a straight line. And then we're going to dimension from this point, or that line, to that line. And if you do that, you're going to get a degree in between both of them. I'm going to click there. I'm going to set this to 15 degrees, and now I have that 15 degrees of that smokestack part. Okay. Lastly, for this part, they got some weird things going on over here. They're like 0.375, weird arrow thing, 1.5. What this is referring to is that we aren't just going to do the section view of this part. We're actually going to fill it in, and then we're going to drill a hole or a counterbore type hole into this part, and it's going to create this profile over here. So since we're not drilling the hole with our sketch, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to fill in our sketch. So after I've dimensioned everything, imagine that I did, I would fill in the sketch, I would delete these lines, and since I know this is 15 degrees, I can delete that line also. I'll finish the sketch, and I'm going to revolve that profile around this axis. And you'll notice right away it generates a smokestack. I'm going to click OK, and then we're going to put the hole on the top. Now we need a point to start our hole on, so I'm going to put another sketch on the top of this part, and I'm going to draw a circle in the center of the part. And every circle comes pre-built with a point, so now I have a point where I can drill that hole. Doesn't really matter the size of the circle, because you'll see that in a second. Okay, drill in the hole, go over to the hole option over here, click on that. You're going to see a bunch of options. If you look at how the smokestack works, it has like two different thicknesses to it, thickness 1 and thickness 2. And that is how counterbore holes work. So if I'm looking at all the drill types I have in my hole options, the one that comes closest is this one over here, this one. And if you hover over it, I think it tells you the name, yeah, so it's a counterbore. I'm going to click on that. And when I do so, you'll notice you have all these options over here for how to make this hole correctly. So looking at my part, I know this wide hole over here has a diameter of 0.875. It's not 0.375 because 0.875 is a larger number, so this has to be it because this has to be the smaller one. So 0.875, let me go ahead and type that in there. 0.875, and it goes down for 0.375. So in the next one, you can kind of see by the picture what it's referring to. We're going to set this to 0.375. Then the overall length of the part, is 1.5, I believe. Yeah, 1.5 is the overall length of the part, and that's what they're asking for over here. And there's the number, or the reference. So 1.5. And then last but not least, the thickness of the last part is 0.375. So I'm going to change that to 0.375. It's flat on the bottom of this part, so make sure the drill point is set to a flat and not to a angled one. So I'm going to set that to flat. I'm going to click on the center, and you're going to notice it drills the hole. Okay, so yeah, that's fine. Make sure this is set to distance, although I believe it will be. And if you don't quite get this, take a look, take a minute to understand it, because we will be using this again. I'll always tell you which one to use, of course, but make sure you understand what we're cutting out. And you can mess with these numbers to see like different things happen. So I'm going to go ahead, hit OK, and it generates the smokestack. So if all your numbers were correct from the start, you got a smokestack good to go. Okay, next part. Let's do the train body. Okay, so the train body is an intimidating part just because it looks like it's a lot, and it's also on two sketches. So it's showing you a lot of detail on the front, and there's a little bit of detail on the back, but both are equally important. I'm going to go ahead and just create a new part. Okay, and I'm going to start my sketch over here. Now, there are many ways to make this, but in my experience, the best way to make it, and perhaps the easiest way to make it, is to draw out a block and then just start carving from the block. So you're just cutting things out after you've drawn the block, and once you've cut out everything, then you have a train. So let me get you started on this. I'll do a little bit of it for you. First off, how big does this block have to be? So the overall length of this part is 5.5. The thickness is 2. And the height of the train, there's no height markers over here, so I don't know what the height is. Let me check the back of the train. And you'll notice right away there's no technical height on this either. Copy. However, we can assume, or we can guess or get a correct height. Sorry, I put a train there. So let's look at everything that counts as height. So from the base of this part to the center of this circle is 0.375. And then the only thing else that we have that can be considered as height is this number over here, R235. R235, if you think about that, that's referring to a radius. What has radiuses? Circles. So if it has an R number, that means there's a circle here. I don't really see the circle, but that's because they've just cut it up so much. In reality, and I'm going to do my best to draw this, in reality, this was like the top part of the circle, and then it continued on. That's pretty good. and I hit undo at the very last second. Can I undo? Nope. Undo that. But it's pretty much, there's a circle here, or there was a circle here at one point. So if that's a circle and that's the center point of the circle and it's going up 2.35 this way, I could also assume that it was going straight up because the radius would be the same. You know, that's part of the definition of a radius. No matter where it is in a circle, that's the radius. So 0.375 plus 2.35 is the height of this part, or the height of the block. So now that I have that information, I'm going to carve out my block. I'm going to set that. This is going to be 5.5. This is going to be, what did I say? 0.375 plus 2.35. And remember, Inventor can do the math for you. So if you just put it in an equation, it will solve it. I'm going to finish the sketch, and then I'm going to extrude out this block 2 inches. So there's my block, and now I got to decide how I want to start carving this train out. So I'm going to be doing work on pretty much every single side of this train. I think students usually have a little bit of difficulty with the back part, so let's start making the back of the train first. So I created a sketch on the back side of this train. Looking at it, what do we have? We have a circle here that's 0.25 diameter, and it's located 1 inch, and there's also this curvature over here. And remember, I said it was part of a circle. So we really have 1 circle and 2 circles. So let me move that aside. I'm going to draw in the small circle, and then I'm going to draw in that larger circle. And I don't quite know where it goes yet, but I'm setting it up like that. Both circles have the same center point, because this R is pointing to that center point, and this is pointing to the center, or to the diameter. So these both circles start at the same point. So I'm going to set this to 1 inch. It's also 0.375. From the base of the train. And the larger circle, I know has a diameter of 2.35 times 2. So you can see that it can create that curvature over there. Now, we don't want to cut this part out, and if I want to extrude out, and you don't have to hit OK, if I want to cut this out, you'll notice that I cut out everything except for the curve up here. But I want to leave everything, and I want to cut out the curve up here and leave everything else. So what I have to do is essentially draw a series of lines that create a shape on the top of the part. It doesn't really matter what their dimensions are, but if I create it, I can cut this top part out. So let's go ahead. I'm going to finish that sketch, and now I'm going to extrude, cut this part out, and boom. I have like a slice of bread loaf thing. But that's the curve of the train. Also, I'm going to share my sketch so I get access to the whole again. Share sketch. And this is just a simple 0.25. So we're just going to extrude this out. A cut, 0.25 inches. Or it's already 0.25, half an inch it says. Half an inch. And boom, like that. I can hide the sketch. And now I've made essentially the back of the train. So then decide if you want to work on the side of the train next or the front of the train. Taking a look at this, and I apologize, this video is getting a little long. I probably recommend doing the front of the train, these 3 things, and making this shape in a similar way to how we made the back of this, and just cutting it all the way out until this point. And they give you enough dimensions here that you can figure out where that point is. Also, be aware of this part over here. Students like to start, this is a circle, and you can tell it's a circle because it has a radius of 0.5, but students like to start this circle at the edge of this train. They think that's where the center point of the circle is. In reality, let me just quickly show you. In reality, the circle doesn't start there. It starts roughly a 1/4 inch away from the edge of the train. So if I was drawing this out from the edge of the train, it would start roughly a 1/4 inch from it. And then to get that straight looking side it has, I'm just going to draw a line from the center point of the circle outward to the outside of the train. And then if I, connected the dots, trimmed out this portion, I could, essentially extrude, but cut out that part of the train. And I could get that awesome curve it has. So be careful with that one, even though I practically showed you how to do it. So continue to work on this train body. You might stumble on some things, but give it a go. And I will see you in the next vid for some more train parts. Till then, peace.
Oh, that's so wimpy. Come on, give it all you got. Go!